I think that a lot of the gaming community thinks that like streamers genuinely did ruin gaming. How about this, chat? How about I just quit gaming completely and I'm a gambling streamer? Then I can't, and let's just fucking, I'll make parlays.
So here's another super viral clip of FaZe Swagg where he's talking about reviving teammates in Battlefield.
People on TikTok, they be telling me like, yo, you're not resing anybody. Bro, they're down across the map. I can't get to bro. You want me to sacrifice everything that I've done this match to go res these goofballs all the way over? Hell no. They're on the other side of the map. There's a tank between us. And they want me to burst through the tank, go fucking Superman, and res everybody. That ain't me. I'm not doing that.
Shut up, bitch!
That is literally your job if you are choosing to play as the medic. If there's a tank in front of you, your job is to either go around the tank, help other people destroy the tank so that you can get to your personal objective of being the medic and support player. That is what you're supposed to do, but I understand that it could be kind of inconvenient to do. And you saw how that previous clip had FaZe Swagg talking about how he doesn't want to go out of his way to revive his teammate. I want you guys to take a look at this clip and just tell me what your initial impressions are.
Oh, come on, get me, please. Please, teammate. Medic.
Please!
He went downstairs. Pops! Oh my God!
Oh my God, Karma is a bitch.
Well, what I'm hoping I see is the Battle Royale gameplay, because that is coming in Season 1. So,
there's no huge flaws with it. The tanks are kind of annoying, but it's not that big of a deal. It's just a very by-the-numbers, very generic Battle Royale mode that they seem to have just slapped on here like a hemorrhoid, because there's no reason not to have a Battle Royale mode. It's only a boon to the game because there are plenty of people that will play the Battle Royale that maybe weren't interested in playing the multiplayer. And the Battle Royale is free, so it gets a lot of people in the door, and then maybe they turn into a paying customer. So it makes a lot of sense, but boy howdy, let me tell you, it really does feel like they just tried to draw Warzone from memory here for RedSec. It is one-to-one in certain instances. Like, it feels very copy and pasted in a lot of ways. Like, I'm pretty confident there are times where you could show side-by-side gameplay of Warzone and RedSec and you wouldn't be able to differentiate which is which.
Every once in a while, a streamer says something that doesn't sound explosive at first, but somehow, it lights the entire internet on fire. Not because it's outrageous, but because it feels just a little too real. That's what happened with TimTheTatman, one of the most likable, down-to-earth creators out there. The guy who built his whole brand on being genuine, suddenly found himself at the center of a storm he probably didn't even see coming. It started with one casual statement, one offhand comment about Battlefield 6 and its rumored Battle Royale mode. And from there, the internet did what the internet does best. It tore everything apart, line by line, frame by frame, until the whole conversation stopped being about the game and started being about Tim himself. Because what people heard in that clip wasn't just excitement for a new game. They heard frustration, contradiction, maybe even a little desperation. And if you zoom out just a bit, you'll realize this whole situation says way more about gaming culture, streamers, and the state of the industry than anyone wants to admit. But to understand why that simple comment became a viral controversy, we've got to rewind. Because this didn't start with Battlefield 6, it started with Warzone, and Tim's slow, painful breakup with it. TimTheTatman wasn't just a Warzone player. He was Warzone. His streams were filled with chaos, laughter, and those unfiltered moments that made you forget you were even watching a YouTube video. He was the everyman of gaming. Not the best shot, not the sweatiest player, but always the most relatable one in the room. But if you've been around the Call of Duty scene for long enough, you could feel it. The fatigue, the frustration, the creeping burnout that starts as a joke and ends with silence. At first it was lighthearted. He'd laugh about dying to bugs or cheaters. He'd mock broken weapons or clown on Activision's lazy updates. But over time, that laughter turned into sighs. Those jokes turned into real complaints. And the energy that used to fuel Warzone streams started to drain out on camera, live. He even said it outright, "Warzone's on the back burner, boys." And that hit hard, because if he's saying it, the guy who built a career on finding fun in the middle of chaos, then something's really wrong. Fans started noticing he wasn't excited anymore. The passion that used to come so naturally was replaced by repetition. Log in, stream, rage, repeat. And for someone like Tim, who thrives on connection and energy, that kind of burnout is brutal. So, when a brand new shooter started making headlines, a Battlefield reboot with next-gen graphics, huge maps, and a promise to bring chaos back to FPS gaming, you could almost feel the spark return. For the first time in a long time, Tim sounded curious again. Not angry, not tired, just curious. But curiosity, as it turns out, can get you in a lot of trouble on the internet. Because when Tim finally shared that curiosity on stream, the internet decided to read between the lines. And maybe a little too deep.
Bro, I think Chad, I genuinely think there's just two new POIs. I mean, to be fair, what do I expect? I don't really expect anything.
Damn, thank you for the prompt. Appreciate it, Ruby.
To be honest.
Hell yeah, Chad, same for dance. Let's go. Let's go.
I said it earlier, and it's pretty apparent Warzone's on the back burner, boys. You know, I get it.
The game mode is extremely similar to Warzone. You are likely going to just stick with the one that you prefer the gameplay of. So if you're someone that likes the less movement-based shooting of Battlefield, you're probably going to prefer RedSec. But if you already like the Call of Duty formula and all the movement tech there, RedSec's not going to be stealing you over there. It's not going to be taking the Warzone lunch money, I don't think. I feel like it's just going to be boiled down to a matter of personal preference in gunplay. And for me, I prefer Battlefield 6 gunplay. Like everything in Battlefield 6 gameplay, I vastly prefer.
Then came Tim's reaction stream. At first, everything seemed normal. He was hyped. He was smiling. He even sounded impressed, talking about the visuals, the gameplay, the potential. It was classic Tim energy, genuine excitement, that, yo, this looks sick kind of vibe everyone loves. But then he said one sentence that changed everything. He said, I'm hoping the Battle Royale is really good. Now, on paper, that sounds harmless, right? Just a guy saying he hopes a game mode is solid. But the internet doesn't read things on paper. The internet reads between the lines. Because here's a guy who's spent months dragging Warzone, calling it stale, broken, and unfun, suddenly saying he's hyped for another BR. And not just any BR, a rumored one in a franchise that built its entire identity against that formula. Within hours, clips started spreading. Reddit threads popped up with titles like, TimTheTatman just wants another BR to milk. People started dissecting his words like he'd just leaked government secrets. And the conversation flipped from Battlefield to something much bigger. Was Tim being honest or strategic? Because if there's one thing gamers are allergic to, it's the smell of inauthenticity. And whether he meant it or not, that one comment made people start asking questions he probably didn't want to answer. Because once people started digging into what he said and why he said it, that's when the floodgates really opened. Here's something most people never think about. When you're a streamer at Tim's level, every word you say carries a price tag. Not because you're lying, but because your opinion has power. When Tim plays a game, tens of thousands of people watch. When he praises something, sales spike. When he criticizes something, developers panic. That's not ego, that's influence. And influence in 2025 is currency. So when a guy like Tim says he's hoping the BR is good, a lot of people don't just hear excitement, they hear marketing. Because battle royales are still the most stream-friendly format on the planet. Every drop, every clutch, every win can become a clip. They're easy to watch, easy to share, and perfect for viral moments. That's why streamers love them. Not necessarily because they're the best games, but because they're the best content. And that's where the tension comes in. Viewers want authenticity. They want to believe their favorite streamer is just like them, grinding late into the night because they love the game. But streamers are running a business. They need content that pulls numbers, sponsors, and consistent excitement. So when Tim jumped from criticizing Warzone to hyping up Battlefield's BR, it hit people in that sensitive spot between love and suspicion. It wasn't just about what he said, it was about why he said it. Because when you've got a track record of being invited to Call of Duty events, collaborating with Activision, and earning big money off those relationships, it's hard for people to see your opinions as just personal thoughts anymore. To them, it's strategy, it's optics, it's keeping the cash flowing, not keeping it real. Now, whether that's fair or not is another debate, but perception is everything, and the perception was brutal. And then came the breaking point, the moment where jokes stopped being jokes. The backlash hit instantly. Clips of Tim's comment flooded every corner of the internet. People started compiling old videos, him calling Warzone trash, saying he was done with BRs, right next to the new clip of him praising Battlefield's BR. The comparisons were everywhere. On Twitter, people were posting side-by-side quotes with captions like, "Bro forgot what he said last month." On Reddit, threads hit thousands of comments arguing whether streamers were even capable of genuine opinions anymore. And right when things couldn't get worse, Tim joked, "Maybe I should just stop gaming altogether and become a gambling streamer."
I think Battlefield 6 is a very well done shooter. But for me personally, for replayability's sake, for me This is not for bad. I'm not telling you you have to feel this. I'm not trying to gaslight you into feeling this.
Harsh reality, heads in. Let me get your ears and your eyeballs. Here it is, guys. Okay? How many of you are, let's say, over 21 in the streams? Right. Pretty much fucking everybody. You don't matter anymore. These goddamn game developers, these companies, they don't care about your dumb ass no more. But every year, a horde of them, a barrage of just little warriors begin to play Call of Duty. They care about the kids because the kids are going to play the game a lot more than your dumb ass is going to play the game. And they're going to make a lot more money off that kid than they're going to make off you. Because that kid is going to find your credit card. And that kid is going to want that Godzilla skin. But your kid, he wants that. And he's going to buy it. And you're not going to charge it back. That is why Call of Duty is not going anywhere. Now, it's 100 people making the game. 80 of them are making cosmetics. 20 of them are making the game. Hey, people blame streamers, but y'all motherfuckers are buying them too.
He said it with a laugh. Chat spammed emojis. Everyone watching live knew it was sarcasm. But the internet doesn't do tone. Clipped out of context, that one line became Exhibit A in the streamers have sold out argument. To viewers who already felt burned out by influencer culture, it sounded like proof that gaming wasn't about fun anymore. It was about money, clicks, and algorithms. And that's when the conversation turned dark. People started saying that streamers like Tim were ruining gaming. Not because they play games, but because their opinions shape what everyone else plays. Smaller creators joined in. Other big names like FaZe Swagg got pulled into the debate. It became this weird meta moment where streamers were reacting to other streamers reacting to streamers, all debating who was real and who wasn't. And at the center of it all, you had Tim, the guy who was just trying to have a normal conversation about Battlefield 6, now being treated like the villain of modern gaming. Ironically, the very thing he was being accused of, turning games into content, was happening in real time. His controversy became content. Other creators were making videos about his video. He was trending not because of gameplay, but because of discourse. And it made a lot of people stop and think, if this is what gaming culture has become, a cycle of outrage, reactions, and monetized debates, maybe Tim's offhand joke wasn't that far off. Maybe gaming really has turned into gambling, just with a controller instead of a deck of cards. But the real irony? The more people criticized him, the more he accidentally proved their point. Here's where things started to spiral, because while everyone was calling Tim a sellout, a few people pointed out something honest. He wasn't wrong about Warzone being stale. He was tired, and when a gamer's burned out, looking for a new challenge is natural. But here's where the optics got messy. You can't spend months trashing Call of Duty's BR, then turn around and praise Battlefield's rumored BR without people noticing. To fans, it looked less like curiosity and more like convenience, and that's what stung. Not that he wanted something new, but that it felt strategic. Almost like he wasn't chasing fun anymore, he was chasing the next wave. Because in the streaming world, the wave equals money, and when that realization hit, the audience flipped. They didn't see Tim as a gamer sharing his thoughts. They saw a businessman shopping for the next cash cow title. But this wasn't just about one creator anymore. It was about how much power streamers really have. Let's be real, streamers don't just play games now, they shape them. A single positive comment from a major creator can sell 1 million copies. A bad one can tank a launch overnight. Developers know this, which is why every new title feels tailor-made for reactions, clips, and shock moments. The result? Games aren't being designed for players. They're being designed for content. Every system is built to trend. Every patch note is written for Twitter. Even authenticity has become a marketing tool. So, when Tim said, "I hope the BR is good," it wasn't just a casual thought. It was a signal. Because the moment a creator like that shows interest, devs take notes, investors take notes, the algorithm takes notes. That's why people freaked out. Because it wasn't just one guy giving his opinion. It was the start of a ripple that could shift what Battlefield becomes. And that's exactly what fans were afraid of. Battlefield used to be the anti-COD. Massive maps, squad teamwork, destruction, chaos with purpose. But over the last few years, it started to blur into the same formula. Seasonal passes, flashy cosmetics, and now a rumored BR. For older fans, that's a red flag. They've seen this before. Call of Duty chasing trends until its core identity vanished. Now they're watching Battlefield walk the same path. And Tim's excitement for the BR felt like the final push over the edge. He didn't mean to, but his words sounded like validation for exactly what longtime fans didn't want. And that's why his clip hit so hard. It wasn't just about him. It was about the fear that Battlefield would stop being Battlefield. And maybe the saddest part, Tim had a real chance to steer that conversation.
You want me to sacrifice everything that I've done this match to go res these goofballs all the way over? Hell no. There's a tank between us and 6 guys down, and they want me to burst through the tank like I'm Superman and res everybody. What I said was I'm kind of like a part-time medic, right? I use a support class. It's the most overpowered class in the entire game. It's a support class. So you support your teammates by helping them cross with the smokes, which I use all the time. So like I said, I usually res people around me, of course, and I res my teammates anywhere they're on the map. But I'm not like TikTok Steve on TikTok going around resing 500 times a game. Run support. You know, I support everybody on the squad with the smokes, with the ammo, with the barricades, and it really is OP. So let me know in the comments if you guys agree. They definitely need to rebalance, I think, support, because I think it's just so overpowered. And please, there's no clip on the internet where I said I hate Battlefield 6. 80% of the time I'm having fun.
But here's the thing, right? We're not talking about the average casual here. We're not talking about the scat master. We're talking about the breed of players that have just migrated from Call of Duty. And as you saw in that previous clip from his homie, these guys are known to not play the objective. So when he's detailing how people are complaining at him that he needs to start reviving people, my initial impression is that there's probably been multiple times where he might need to go out of his way just a little bit and maybe risk his life, kind of.
They're not going to, man. That's just how these Call of Duty players are.
If you think about it, this could have been a turning point. Tim could have said, I hope the BR is good, but I also hope Battlefield doesn't lose itself chasing trends. That one line would have shown self-awareness. Instead, the moment came off as another influencer chasing hype. It's not that he's fake, he's just human, caught in a system that rewards noise over nuance. And maybe that's the real tragedy here, because when every word you say can become a headline, even honesty starts sounding calculated. And that brings us to what this whole mess really says about gaming now. At the end of the day, this story isn't just about TimTheTatman. It's about the culture we've built around gaming. Everything's performance now. Every opinion, every stream, every clip has a purpose. The line between passion and profit doesn't exist anymore. Players want authenticity, but creators are under constant pressure to stay relevant. And that's a contradiction no one knows how to fix. So when Tim slipped up, it hit a nerve. Because deep down, everyone recognized a piece of themselves in it. That tension between loving something and trying to make a living from it. And maybe that's why this moment blew up so big. It wasn't just about Battlefield or BRS. It was about us, and how gaming stopped being just fun, and started being business. So, what can we take away from all this? Tim didn't deserve the hate, but he also couldn't escape it, because once you're part of the machine, every move gets analyzed. The real story here isn't that he sold out, it's that the system makes it almost impossible not to. When every game becomes content, and every streamer becomes a brand, it's hard to tell where passion ends and marketing begins. So, maybe Tim's not the villain, maybe he's just a symptom. A reminder that in 2025, gaming isn't just a hobby anymore, it's an industry powered by algorithms, outrage, and attention. And the next time a streamer tells you what's fun, maybe don't just listen. Ask yourself who's really playing the game.